Okay guys, welcome back. This is your old pal Andrew Hondo doing a rod review on two rods from LEWS. I'm going to give you the good, bad, and the ugly on this review. These are two ultralight rods I have been using for about 2 months. I did a video on this one here in particular, the Crappie Thunder rod, which is a 5'6" rod, IM6 graphite. Ultralight with oxidized aluminum eye guides, and we have a new one that I just bought, and I've been using it for trout fishing here in the fall. Right now it's fall season for trout fishing, and it's the 5'6" LEWS laser speed stick with a Shimano Sienna I put on there. I'm going to compare these two LEWS because Mr. Crappie is an subsidiary of LEWS, and we're gonna give you the good and bad and the ugly on that one as well. They're both IM6 graphite. They both have this like Evo split handle, Evo foam split handle. They both screw in from the top. The rod seats on both of them are okay. The Mr. Crappie one has this like irritating hump in the back, and it really kind of feels bad in your hand, and the rod on the Mr. Crappie rod is a lot stiffer. And I noticed using the Mr. Crappie rod whenever I was fishing for some bluegill and some crappie and panfish at the lake a couple of weeks ago. It's so stiff. It shouldn't be that stiff though for a ultralight fishing rod. It should be pretty flimsy and have sort of a stiff spine. It doesn't have that. It's really too stiff for me. I mean, it worked pretty good whenever I hooked into a bass with it, and I had no issue getting the bass in. But when it came to the smaller panfish that I was catching, like crappie, they were bouncing off the rod because it was too stiff. It has to be really flimsy in order for you to set the hook and keep them on the line so they don't bounce off of it or rip their lips. This one is too stiff, man. I don't like it. I think it's too stiff. It's not good for jigging. Although it is a LEWS rod, it's not one of my favorite ultralights that I've used this year. I think the Shakespeare Micro Series rod is a lot better than this Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick. I think they should go back to using their old slab shaker rods. That one's just horrible. Go back to what works for you guys. Go back to the slab shaker rods. Those are great. Now we're going to get into what I like about the LEWS laser. I think this is a far better rod. The LEWS laser HS speed stick rod is a lot better ultralight rod than the Mr. Crappie Thunder rod. It's a lot more in between flimsy and stiff in the spine, which I've caught a few fish with it already. And this spinning rod is really good because when you set the hook on a fish, it has enough flimsiness and firmness to keep the fish hooked without bouncing it off. And if you know anything about crappie fishing, you don't really want a too stiff of a rod because it'll bounce the fish right off of it. And it works pretty good with the monofilament I've used with it. And that's the new Sienna reel that I bought. I got another Sienna on the bottom on the Mr. Crappie rod. I like the handle. The handle's doesn't have no bulbous like bulging out like type of thing like this Mr. Crappie Thunder rod does. And the handle is pretty good. I like it. It feels good in my hand. The rod's well balanced. Unlike the Mr. Crappie rod, it's not balanced at all. I don't like it. It's top heavy because of the stupid hump in the handle. I don't like that at all. And I think, this one is a little bit more money, and it's worth the $31 over the Mr. Crappie Thunder rod, which is only a $22 rod. You get what you pay for, guys, with these two rods. And I think if you're going to get a decent budget graphite ultralight fishing rod, this is the way to go, guys. Honestly, they do make bigger rods in this series, a light speed laser. They do make a casting rod, a 6'6" casting rod, which is medium, and they do make a 6'6" medium spinning rod as well in this series of rods, because when you go to Walmart you can look them up, or Dick's, or wherever you find them. But I got the ultralight one instead of the medium or medium light rods. It's well worth the buy, guys. I've used it for about, I don't know, 2 months now, and I've did some serious trout fishing with it, because I ain't had time to make videos, fishing videos. So I took it out fishing with my buddy and his son. We went out fishing at one of these local creeks and caught a bunch of chubs and you know, some small trout and stuff like that with it, and I caught a smallmouth bass with it, and it handled it pretty well. It's, you know, it has a good combination of stiffness to flexibility that I like about a ultralight rod, where the Mr. Crappie does not. It is a stiff rod. I don't like it. I mean, I did bring both of them fishing with me when I went trout fishing, and it performs okay with trout. Trout are pretty, you know, when you set the hook on a trout, they don't fight like a panfish. I mean, they just basically lob their body all over the place and just like try to throw the hook. You got to basically horse them in. It did okay with trout, but with panfish, I didn't like it with panfish at all. They're both 5'6". They both have aluminum oxidized eyes. Now, only if I had one gripe about the LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick Ultralight, is that they should have put the hook keep a little bit above the rod seat instead of the back. Because, you know, if you're trying to walk out in the woods and you got an exposed hook from a lure like that while you're walking with your hand, it's going to stick you in the hand if you accidentally push it into a tree or something. I don't like to see the hook keep up here, and the eye guide on it is really small. It should be a big round eye guide like the eye guide on the Mr. Crappie Thunder rod. That's the way these eyes should be made. It has sort of an issue casting. Not much of an issue, but it kind of has an issue casting. I've had a few line twists with it, but it's not that bad, really. It's not that pronounced whenever you're casting with it. But overall, I think this rod, this LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick, is better than the LEWS Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick, the new one that just came out. I don't like it at all for crappie fishing. I think it's too stiff. It's way too stiff for a crappie rod. It's okay for a trout rod, though. I mean, I've used it to catch a couple trout, and no problem with that whatsoever. You know, it's pretty lightweight. This one feels better in my hand, though. The LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick feels better in my hand. Feels more balanced. It has way more flexibility when it comes to pan fishing. It works good in combination with I think it was a 2 to 6 pound test. That's what it's rated for. The other one's rated 4 to 8 pound test. So they're both decent. But if I had to buy it, if I was going to put my money on it, and this is just my overall opinion, the LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick is the better performing rod over the Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick. I think the LEWS is pretty much on par with the Shakespeare Micro Series IM6 ultralight rods in the same category, which is 5'6" rods. This one is far better than the Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick. It's about on par with the Micro Series rod, which is one of my favorite rods, guys, that I've used this year for catching crappie and bluegill. The LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick has got to be a second, comes close to being second as my favorite ultralight fishing rod this year, guys. The Mr. Crappie one, I'm not going to recommend it at all. I give it, if I had to give it like 5 stars out of 0, I'd give it 2 stars. It's not a good rod. It's not balanced well. It's too stiff. It does not work for the type of fishing I do. And if I had to give the LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick A rating, you know, I'd give it a 5 out of 0 stars. It's a really good rod, guys. Don't take it from me. Go out and buy one yourself and you know, test it out for yourself. Get one for your kid. They're both. This is definitely a good entry level type of fishing rod for somebody who don't know how to fish very well, or you know, just somebody starting out fishing. It's a decent combination. It's a good graphite rod with monofilament, because you could use more stretchier lines with a graphite rod than if you're using a glass rod. You could use fluorocarbon and braid, which is a stiffer line. That's why I like using graphite rods over, say, a fiberglass rod, because you can get away with using monofilament. It's cheap. I mean, it's my all-around go-to line. A lot of people are like, use fluorocarbon, use fluorocarbon. Why are you fishermen using braid and using fluorocarbon leaders? Answer me that. Because you know why? Braid does not break down in the water. The fish can see braid. That's why they use a fluorocarbon leader to make their lures vanish. So why do that when you can just use clear monofilament fishing line, or a green moss LEWS type of fishing line? Go figure. I'll never figure out these YouTube fishermen, but hey, if y'all like this video, go pick up the LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick. I recommend that one, but the Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick is garbage. I don't like it. I'm going to keep it though as a backup, just in case this LEWS one breaks on me. The LEWS one is a single rod, where the Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick is a 2-piece. I forgot to mention that. Okay guys, if you like this video, hit the like, share, and subscribe. Tell me what you think. Recommend the LEWS Laser HS Speed Stick ultralight over the Mr. Crappie Thunder Stick. Hit that like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell for further uploads. You guys take it easy. This has been your old pal Hondo. Peace out, YouTube.